Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for October 13th through 19th. This week I read 2 books, I watched 3 shows, and I listened to a book. A couple of weeks ago I was staying with family and I was filming in the tiny little pub which has a tin roof, so obviously you could hear the rain, and this week is pretty much the same except for I'm staying in a different property on the same property called the Coop at Alder Point. It's my favorite Airbnb of all time. It's actually the off-season for this Airbnb, which is why we're staying in it, because we're just visiting family. But it's also raining, and as I will show you, this is very open air. You actually stay in an old chicken coop that used to be a bedroom of a friend of mine that's been heavily renovated and is beautiful inside. However, Chad is inside, he's sleeping right now. And also you can hear the rain inside anyway, so I figured I'd come out to the Copacabana and film this. I have filmed at this property before. I love staying here and I love filming here, but I do understand that you're gonna hear a lot of rain, and I'm really sorry because it's supposed to rain for the next, I don't know, 10 hours, so there's nothing I can do about that. The first book that I finished this week is Confetti Realms. This is a graphic novel about some teenagers who go on some shenanigans, which is a lot of graphic novels actually, so that's not very specific. Essentially, it's Halloween night and 3 to 4 of these teenagers have a plan to go to the graveyard and do some graveyard shenanigans because it's Halloween night. And then there's another one that we kind of understand from context clues they know, but we don't know why. There's kind of a rift between a couple of the characters. And then as time progresses, we realize that some characters know each other more than other people are letting on. But once they get to the graveyard, obviously the cops are staking it out because it's prime time for kids to be doing shenanigans in the graveyard. And then they accidentally get sucked into this different realm where they have to do some tasks in order to get back. That's the main premise. That's all I'm actually going to tell you, because anything else I think would be a bit of a spoiler. And I'm sitting here going, I still don't know how to feel about that ending. So, if you have read Confetti Realms, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. This is actually perfect weather for my next book, which is called Carrion Comfort. This is a book that takes place on the north coast of Scotland, which typically has this type of weather, although in the beginning of this book it's nice and hot and people are confused. Because that's how it goes in Scotland. Either it's raining and you're like, this is typical, or it's nice and you're confused. This is a murder mystery book, and it's actually the second in a series. I haven't read the first one, but my library does have it, so I'm going to go back and read that now that I've read this because I really enjoyed the writing style. This is the type of book that takes place in a very small town, and we actually hop between the heads of several people in this small town and the big-time police people that are called in from Edinburgh to solve this murder. What I really loved about this is I had no idea who done it until it was really revealed in the book, and then you start getting scared because you're like, oh no, if it's that person, what's going to happen? Is somebody else going to get murdered? This one is also really tricky because it becomes obvious that where the body was found was not where the body was killed. And it becomes this thing of like, why would the body have been moved? And who moved it? And why? We also have a lot of interpersonal dynamics, not only between people that live in this village, but the cops themselves. Be it between the cops that are from Edinburgh, because a couple of them have worked together, and I imagine that happened in the first book, so I'm gonna figure that out once I read that. But then also trying to work with the local force and how the local force doesn't really like that they're there, and all of those types of things. I absolutely adored how this was written. I really enjoyed getting to know this whole cast of characters. So if, like me, you would like to read a murder mystery that's very atmospheric and very much up in everybody's business, I highly suggest this one. As for what I watched this week, we watched a couple of episodes of Doctor Who. We're still in the 4th season because we do this very slowly. We only remember to watch it about once a month, really. And the most notable things from these episodes is it's interesting when you have companion crossovers. So Donna is technically our companion, but Martha was definitely in these episodes. And I think it just happened to work out for us that these 2 episodes were a continuation of each other, like a to-be-continued situation, because that doesn't always happen, but when it happens nicely like that, especially when we only watch a couple of episodes at a time, I'm here for it. I also finished the 1st season and watched most of the 2nd season of Criminal Minds Beyond Borders. I believe I have 4 episodes left because after that I'm just out of Criminal Minds and I don't know how to feel about that. Also, I just really didn't have the time this week and I wanted to just savor that in the next few days. Because I've watched the original series, I know that this team gets broken up because that comes up in the other series, and that's why one of the characters from this series actually transfers over to that series. Although that actor is way too busy doing Wheel of Time apparently, so he's no longer on the series, which is sad to me because I love him a lot. But I did get to this episode where the first mentioning of them being broken up came up, and they had to kind of prove themselves and they didn't do the wrong things, and it was a very intense episode, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it gets wrapped up, because I don't know if they knew they were not going to get another season or what's going on, so I'm really interested to see where they go, literally, because this is basically a travel show in crime format, in the last 4 episodes. Speaking of travel shows, you know that I don't typically tell you what I watch on YouTube because I watch a lot on YouTube, and I would be here all day listing all the different videos I watched because I watch a lot of YouTube during my work time. However, while we were visiting family, we actually watched 3 full episodes of a travel show that is on YouTube and also on Nebula, and that's Jetlag the Game. Some of these seasons I've seen before because Chad really likes this show. I've watched it with him before, and then some of these seasons were new to me, or I'd seen bits and pieces here and there. The particular seasons we watched were a couple of seasons where they were playing tag across Europe, and then the last season we watched was the hide and seek season in Switzerland, which I had seen before, but I was delighted to watch again because, again, we were introducing it to family and we just couldn't stop watching. Once we started a season, we had to continue, and then the other night we watched 2 seasons, last night we watched a 3rd season. If you've never heard of this show before, it's really fun. It's typically these 3 people, although some seasons have other people on them as well, and they're playing these games across Europe. They have to travel, they've got certain budgets, or they've got certain coins, which they have to do challenges to get more coins to be able to do these things, and it's just fun. It's really interesting travel content. It's edited so well. It's very engaging. I highly suggest it. So like I said, I don't usually tell you what I'm watching on YouTube, but because I watched 3 whole seasons of this show, I figured it's worth a mention. As for the audiobook I listened to this week, that was Self-Compassion. This one has a subtitle and I didn't write it down, but it's basically the power of being nice to yourself. Here's the thing, I both need to be reminded to be nice to myself and also feel cringy about talking about being reminded that I need to be nice to myself. So, let's talk about this book. There were parts of this that were nice and helpful and good reminders that self-compassion is a thing that you should do. You should be nice to yourself. You should be able to give yourself some grace, and giving yourself some grace is not letting yourself off the hook if you have really messed up at something. It's just being able to recognize when you've done like a small bad or if you've done a big bad, and how to kind of self-regulate. However, there are definitely aspects of this book where if I were writing it, I would not have left them in because I feel like they were mistakes. Sure, they were this author's personal moments of like when she felt she had to give herself compassion, which can be good, but because this book was written over a decade ago, the way she writes about the fact that her child has autism left a really bad taste in my mouth. I'm not really here for the poor me, I don't have a perfect child, I'm the parent of an autistic child kind of writing. And then also there was this whole side tangent where they actually went to like Mongolia, I believe it was, and then the locals were actually beating the parents with sticks, and apparently this was something that was supposed to help the child, and I was just like, I would have left this part out. Honestly, if that's your experience, sure, fine, but also we've really strayed from self-compassion and it's making it harder for me to think that self-compassion is a good thing, because if it's gonna make me think that this is a good thing, then I don't know if I want it. Obviously I've boiled this way down, but I figure this is one of those books where you can take the parts that are useful to you and definitely just try to ignore the other parts. And that's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!